Welcome back to the Manosphere Paradigm, the channel where we learn to level up in health, wealth, relationships, and hobbies. Today we'll be talking about why we need to become the men we're supposed to be rather than the men we were raised to be. We'll talk about how we get influenced, how our family life, religion, as well as the world shapes us and makes us to think a specific way or guides our lives in a specific manner, and also ultimately makes us to live our lives in a specific way. So let's get into it. So the first place that you'll be influenced is definitely your family life, and whether it is your father, your uncles, and the men around you is the first men and examples that you're going to be having as a boy growing up and seeing what examples that they teach you. Now you can have the example of having a strong masculine man that leads his family. You can have you can either be your father or an uncle that you have in your life that is that influence, directs his family, plots the course. He is the man that leads his woman, and they are a family unit that works together based on where he's leading them, and there is order in their life. You also then have the other example where unfortunately they are not leading by an example, and there might be an instance where they are influenced, whether it is alcohol or substance abuse that is leading their life, and they have given over that control to that substance, whether it is alcohol, whether it is drugs, and they now have relinquished that responsibility to that addiction. So you tend to have that examples, and it can be immediate family, it can be family around you, it can be friends of yours that you see, friends in the street where you grew up, your neighborhood. End of the day, you're going to see these different examples, and maybe in certain neighborhoods one was more pronounced than the other. But you're going to then have an opportunity as a young man to then and there. I personally, as a young man, or when I got to 10 years old, I've had the unfortunate influence of seeing the alcohol abuse in my community, in my family. There's been certain instances where alcohol abuse was something that was normalized. And as a young man, I had to make the decision to tell myself, is this where I want to take my life? And you then have the responsibility to tell yourself, you know what, this is a negative impact on my life. I see what it's doing to those around me, and that is not the result I want for myself. So you need to then identify. And for me personally, it happened when I was in my early teens. I early enough identify that I want to do something with my life and not be or at least succumb to the influence in the family around me, in the neighborhood around me, to not be succumbed by those influences and have my life go in that direction. We all know and we've seen the result of that kind of influences. So we all get influenced by our family as to whether it is a good example, whether it's a negative example. But influence is definitely something that you're going to be, but you're going to be, as a young man, be left with the decision to either follow the example that you get, whether it's a good or negative example, or to say, you know what, let me take from that and take from my experience, and then try and plot the best course for me personally to understand what is the best thing to do for me as a man and the life that I want to live. So apart from family influences that we have, once we step out by the door, the world is going to hit us, and we get hit by our religion, whichever religion that you are. That influences your moral compass as to how you live your life. We get influenced by the movies that we watch, by the music that we listen to. So, and it plays a big and vital role in you starting to normalize certain things in your life. So it is very important that you start filtering out and making sure that you only listen to certain music. Now, me personally, I enjoy good old school 90s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s hip hop. I thoroughly enjoy it. When I'm out in my vehicle, windows will be down, and something, whether it is Notorious B.I.G., whether it's Tupac, whether it is Mobb Deep, whether it is Talib Kweli, Mos Def, I enjoy that music because for me there's a certain level of just enjoyment about the real truths that they talk about and the type of music that was then and the type of messages that they were trying to get across. So I enjoy that. Some of the music today, here and there, but all I can hear is when it comes to trap and everything else, nah, you're not getting me into that. Hell no. So music plays a hell of an influence in how you get shaped, and you need to filter out. And sometimes you listen to certain music to lift up your mood or to get you in a specific mood, and you leverage that to be able to get the things done that you need to get done. But you need to be very mindful of the influences, because like I said, it starts making you normalize certain things in your life. And when he talks about, getting all the hoes and all of those kind of things and getting all the women, you get, in my experience, I dated, I lived my 20s, I was responsible as much as I can, and I did me. But you kind of like get into your 30s, and now that I've hit 40, I've learned to understand how you need to curb your outside influences and make sure that what you allow into your life is very important. So you need to make sure that you set those boundaries, make sure that you have that limitations, and also you start making sure that the things that is being normalized towards you and the things that's being projected, whether it is the news, we tend to sit on our Facebook, our IG, on our Twitter feeds for hours, and then we get enraged by what comes across our screens. We all know by now there's a certain level of AI that comes to your phone, listening to what you're doing, your interests, and them projecting as much marketing to you so that you can buy and be part of that machine that just keeps on feeding the monster. So be aware of these things, understand how your life is get shaped by the outside world, and how you need to be very aware of that, and be able to understand what you need to weed out, what you can let in. Like I always say, and in the previous video you hear me say it, that you need to take the meat, eat the meat, and spit out the bones. And that is how you're going to constantly understand not to just let each and every thought, each and every new thing to be enraged about, each and every new thing to just hop onto the bandwagon. You need to start filtering in and protect your energy and start making sure where you're going. So that is just when it comes to influencing us as men. A lot of influences is there as this Disney mindset of thinking, still thinking the old way, and not understanding that chivalry has a long time been killed by women. There is no chivalry. They wanted equality. They want to be recognized, and that has happened. And with equality, unfortunately, there's also responsibility. So you cannot have your bread buttered both sides. So as men, you need to understand where you find yourself, in what era we find ourselves. We are not in the old school of thinking where things used to be all a man guides the family and the woman follows and she submits to him, and they work, and she basically works with him to be his helpmeet. That has changed, where a lot of women are out for their own, and you as a man need to understand that you need to be out for yourself, and you need to work on yourself, so that when you are on the level that you need to be, you are not going to allow any nonsense in your life, any problems in your life, and any drama, because you are a man of value and you know exactly where you're going. So you need to make sure that that is always on your mind, that is your focus, and that is the way you operate and move, because you're not going to be swayed by outside influences. So how do you become the man that we are supposed to be? And one of the answers to that question is that you need to start investing in yourself. And how do you do that? Me personally, the life that I've that I've lived, the family that I grew up in, the neighborhood that I come from, the area that I come from is Cape Town, in the Cape Flats in Cape Town, South Africa. And it is considered to be a place that had a lot of and still has a lot of crime, and you can easily become one of the statistics if you do not allow yourself to put those boundaries in place. Because if you just went along with it, I would have been another guy that had 3 or 4, 5, 6 different kids from different women, and that would be in my life. Or I've been part of doing drugs, whatever the case may be, or just living a life of I'm just there. But you know what? I decided early that I want to do something with my life. I want to be a honest member of society that contributes as a citizen to my country and to society as a whole, be a honest tax-paying citizen. But I've learned that just doing that is just not enough. We need to understand what our God-given gift is in this world. And a way that I have discovered that was I understood there's certain traumas that I endured as through my life. And there's certain things that I went through that I needed to overcome. Now, each and every one of us, we all have a different story, and in the previous videos, you'll find out that one of the things that I mentioned was that the world does not care and the world does not owe us understanding. We need to understand what our issues are, and we need to make sure we get professional help for that. And that is one of the things that I did early on in my 20s to understand why certain things in my life has not been working. I'm still working on it. I'm still bettering day by day, year by year, and just going from trying to be a better version of myself than yesterday. So that is a responsibility you have on your own to get professional help for whatever you have. If you have issues in your relationship, you have issues being able to just function properly and be able to, if you have mental issues, whatever the case may be, you need to go get help, get it sorted, and come back and go for the things that you want out of life, other than just using it as a crutch and constantly making excuses. That is what this channel is not about. We are not here to make excuses. We are here to understand what we need to work on, what we need to get better at, and how can we get to the things that we want to get to and live our dreams and get to our dreams that we've ultimately set out and the goals that we set out to achieve. So that is just one way that I want to just kind of like just thought to just give you that insight as to how we need to get to where we want to be and how we become that man that we are supposed to be. Another thing and that I wanted to add to that is that you need to start, the more that you focus on where you want to be, you're going to start seeing that there's certain friends and family that unfortunately is not going to be able to go along for the ride because of their limitations and the box that they've created for that box, the box they've created for you. There's a certain box that they have looked at, and in their mind, that is the box that of level of achievement that you can attain. Now, all you need to do is firstly say, fuck that box. And all you need to do is focus on where you want to be. Get rid of the box, get rid of them. If they do come right and they say, you know what, I will support you and I'll be there for you, and they add and edify into your life, then you know what, by all means, build with them. But if that is not possible, you're going to need to do make some hard choices and make some hard decisions that for your ultimate betterment, for where you want to be, because not everyone is going to be part and go with you on the journey. So you need to start making sure that you plot where you're going, and you make sure that you surround yourself with the people that's going to help you get there, and cut out the ones that is a hindrance for you to be able to get there. You know, it is something that I just wanted to mention is congruency. You know, we need to be congruent with the things that we want to do. We can't say we want to do something but our actions is giving and saying a different thing. So we need to be congruent with, we want to be somewhere, we want to go somewhere, we want to achieve something, but we didn't need to put in the action, put in the steps, put in the planning, and put in that work to be able to achieve it. If you don't do that, as we will call it in the manosphere, we call it that you need to have receipts. You can't talk about something if you've never been there. So that's why I want you to join me on this journey as I grow and as I get better. I share those experiences with you so that you can use it in your life. We can see a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how I have grown and how we as the Manosphere Paradigm has grown. The army that we become, that we can help each other, the men in our families, the men in our circle, and the world that we touch, how we can influence that world by being the men that we're supposed to be and the men that's needed and desperately needed in society today. So I want to encourage you to go out and put in the work to understand your issues, understand your faults, face it, better on it, get better on it, go get the help. If you cannot get over it on your own, get the professional help, be the best version of yourself, put in the work, put in the physical, the gym, put in the know-how in learning your craft, in getting better, put in the work, so that you can be the ultimate and the best version of yourself. That's ultimate we're striving for here in the Manosphere Paradigm. And I'm so excited because I'm starting to see a lot of people that is starting to contact me and telling me, you know what, I'm enjoying your channel. And I want to give a shout out to Garrett and his wife. I definitely appreciate you guys this weekend. I saw you guys this weekend and you guys said you're doing a great job, and I thank you for that encouragement. It means a lot to me. So to everyone else, I want to say, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and become part of the Manosphere Paradigm game. We are small now, but we are going to grow, and I want you to be part of the journey. Manosphere Paradigm gear is here. So go in the link, go down to the link in the description and click on the merch link, so that you can go directly to the Manosphere Paradigm store, so that you can buy your gear to support the Manosphere Paradigm, to grow and to fund and to be able to do the things that is needed to produce and to make sure that this channel keeps on growing. So go down into the link, click on the link in the description, go to the Manosphere store and get your merch today. There is a promotion for 50% off for the next 12 days, I believe. So get in there, get your merch and support the channel. Thanks.